Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to, well, really getting informed. Our mission, as always, is to cut through the noise, pull out those key nuggets of knowledge, and make complex stuff genuinely interesting. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating area, one that's maybe often overlooked. The connection between human psychology and online shopping. Specifically, we're looking at a surprisingly powerful feeling embarrassment, how it can seriously hit sales, and importantly, how smart strategies can actually change that whole experience for customers. You've given us some great sources, really compelling stuff with surprising facts and practical solutions. We're excited to unpack it all with you. And before we properly jump in, just a quick word about our partner for this deep dive, Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps Shopify merchants like you run smart, targeted discount campaigns. It's all designed to help boost conversion rates and sales by, really understanding customer behavior. You can actually test it for free on your Shopify store right now. Just head over to the Shopify App Store. We'll definitely talk more about how Growth Suite fits into this whole e-commerce psychology picture later on.
Yeah, understanding this link is, it's absolutely crucial for anyone in the online business space. Our sources today, they really cover it well. We've got an in-depth look at what Growth Suite can do, and also this comprehensive article called Removing Embarrassment, Creating Safe Spaces for Sensitive Products. So we'll be connecting the dots, right, between knowing your customers' hesitations, especially around maybe sensitive purchases, and how the right tools and strategies can directly address that. It's a real game changer.
Okay, so let's unpack this core idea first. Shopping embarrassment. Have you ever felt that heat in your cheeks buying certain products in a store? Or maybe you've been online, filled up a cart, and then just stopped. Ditch the whole thing because you're worried maybe what the delivery driver might think, or even just someone else seeing the package. Or, this one's interesting, have you ever thrown in a totally random decoy item? Like, I don't know, a massive bag of dog food, even if you don't have a dog, just to sort of hide that one sensitive thing you actually needed. If any of that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely not alone.
That's absolutely spot on. And here's the really interesting bit from the research. That feeling, that flush of embarrassment, it's not just like social awkwardness. It actually triggers your brain's fight or flight response. When you feel embarrassed shopping, your amygdala, that sort of ancient part of the brain dealing with emotions, gets really active. The threat here isn't physical, obviously. It's the fear of social judgment. It's that kind of uncomfortable gap between how you see yourself and what your shopping cart maybe says about you. And our sources point out two main types. There's public embarrassment, at the checkout, but also, surprisingly, private embarrassment, which happens a lot even when you're completely alone browsing online.
Wow, okay. Private embarrassment. That's intriguing.
It is. And certain product types are bigger triggers, right? Health and wellness stuff, for sure. Especially things related to sexual health, maybe incontinence, mental health medications. Then you've got purchases that carry some social stigma, weight loss products, maybe things for addiction recovery, and even personal care items that are kind of taboo, intimate hygiene, things related to aging. Buying those can feel very exposing.
Okay, so it's not just a quick blush. It's actually a deep biological thing. And what's really fascinating for businesses then is how this feeling leads to direct, measurable actions.
Right.
Or inaction. Like you said, many shoppers just abandon their carts. They leave the site completely rather than click buy. Others do those compensatory behaviors the sources mentioned, adding the decoys, or maybe buying in bulk just to avoid buying it again soon. And maybe worst of all, even if the product is great, they might just avoid that store in the future because they felt uncomfortable, which obviously cuts sales immediately, but also kills repeat business. That's huge.
It is huge. And you'd think, wouldn't you, that online shopping, no cashier, no other shoppers, would fix this. But weirdly, our sources show it can often make the problem worse. Which raises a big question. Why? Why does digital sometimes amplify embarrassment? It seems to be down to what we could call embarrassment amplifiers, often just built into the digital experience.
Amplifiers? Okay. Like what?
Well, platform design itself plays a big part. Think about overly visual product pages, huge, detailed images of sensitive stuff. That can make people feel really self-conscious, especially if they're, maybe not alone or using a shared computer. Transparent checkouts, too, where the product name pops up multiple times, maybe in big, bold text. That increases the feeling of being exposed. And then there are poor privacy controls, like recommendation engines suggesting sensitive products, maybe on other sites you visit later. That creates these unexpected kind of jarring moments of exposure. It feels like it's following you.
Right, the creepy retargeting ads for things you'd rather forget you looked at.
Exactly. And then there's this other thing the sources call the social proof paradox. Usually, reviews and social sharing are great for building trust and sales, right? But for sensitive products, it can totally backfire. People are often really reluctant to leave public reviews for things they feel embarrassed about, so you get low review counts, which then makes other people hesitant to buy. Those share your purchase buttons, they just create anxiety about accidentally clicking them. And things like influencer marketing, it's really hard to make that work for taboo stuff.
So the very tools that build trust normally can actually destroy it here.
Precisely. And finally, data privacy worries are massive. People worry their purchase history is just sitting there, visible if they log back in, or maybe visible to others on a shared account. The fear of those retargeting ads we mentioned, or just general concern about third-party apps getting access to sensitive purchase data, it all adds another layer of anxiety.
That's fascinating how the architecture of e-commerce itself can unintentionally create these hurdles. So what can merchants actually do about this? It sounds like it needs careful thought, not just, a quick fix. Our sources talk about an architectural framework for creating safer online spaces, almost like digital safe zones. It starts with interface design, right? Using maybe a more neutral visual style like restrained imagery, maybe more clinical or medical looking for certain products, colors that don't scream, look at this sensitive item. Also, things like discrete packaging previews, showing people exactly how it will arrive, offering plain box options. That seems key. And context-aware adaptation. That sounds interesting, like the site actually changes its look and feel for sensitive stuff.
Exactly. More subdued, more private, while maybe staying vibrant for other categories. It's about adjusting the environment. And beyond just the look, enabling truly anonymous ways to shop is vital. So making guest checkout really smooth and easy, maybe even preferable to logging in for some purchases, offering incognito browsing options maybe, or even account aliasing, letting people have separate profiles perhaps for different kinds of buys not linked to their main identity.
Okay, aliases, that's clever.
And then communication safeguards. This is crucial. Using language that's non-judgmental, very solution-focused. Maybe offering both everyday terms and more medical-grade descriptions where that's suitable. And definitely training customer service teams. Deep training and empathy, specific ways to handle sensitive queries, sort of crisis response protocols, making sure the customer never, ever feels judged by the brand.
Right, that human touch point is critical. Now, what's really exciting here is how tech isn't just the problem. It's also offering some powerful solutions now. It goes beyond just design tweaks.
Oh, absolutely. AI-powered personalization, for instance, is getting really sophisticated. Algorithms could potentially predict embarrassment cues and dynamically adjust the interface in real time. Imagine like a chatbot, a conversational AI, that could discreetly guide someone through buying a sensitive product, answering questions privately, no judgment.
Like a private shopping assistant?
Sort of, yeah. And then there's privacy-first architecture, building privacy in from the ground up. Think about payment systems where the transaction is verified, but your personal details are never actually revealed to the system. Or browsing data related to sensitive items just, poof, disappears after the session. Zero trace. That's privacy by design in action.
Wow, zero-knowledge payments. That sounds very advanced.
It is. And our sources even mention things like sensory safety engineering, maybe adaptive controls so you can quickly minimize a screen or mute audio if someone walks into the room, or even using VR to create totally neutral private shopping spaces. It's all about giving the customer more control over their discretion.
Okay, so for you, the Shopify merchant listening, how do you make this practical? Where do you start? The sources suggest focusing on platform configuration first, like really digging into your privacy settings, going beyond just the basics, carefully vetting any third-party apps to see how they handle data, especially sensitive data, and maybe modifying your store's theme, like we said, for a more neutral look for certain product pages.
Definitely. And then there's staff training. It's not just customer service, though they're key. Empathy training, crisis communication skills, yes. But also making sure your developers understand these issues and build privacy and discretion into features from the start.
Right, getting the tech team on board.
And finally, having systems for continuous improvement. Things like tracking what the sources call discomfort metrics, maybe unusually high bounce rates on specific sensitive product pages, that could be a signal, running ethical A/B tests on design changes, and finding safe, private ways to get feedback from customers after they've purchased without making them feel exposed all over again.
That makes sense. Listening without being intrusive. Which actually brings us really neatly back to our partner, Growth Suite. Because this whole discussion about understanding subtle customer behavior, tracking where they hesitate, creating targeted experiences, that's exactly what Growth Suite is built for. It's about intelligent action, not just, guessing.
Yeah, it connects perfectly. Growth Suite's whole philosophy directly helps tackle many of these conversion issues, including the ones that stem from hesitation or even embarrassment. Its visitor behavior tracking is incredibly detailed. It watches everything products viewed, adds to cart, starting checkout, and it analyzes those patterns. It can see where people are dropping off. This helps it figure out purchase likelihood, telling the difference between someone who's ready to buy and someone who's, well, hesitating.
Okay, so it identifies the hesitant ones.
Exactly. And here's where it helps with the embarrassment factor. It lets you offer targeted, time-limited discounts. But, and this is key, not just blasting offers to everyone, the offers only appear after specific signs of engagement, like spending time on a page or adding to cart. So you're not training people to always wait for a discount, you're protecting your brand. And it reduces that need for customers to maybe hunt around for deals publicly or use those decoy items we talked about. It feels more discreet.
Because the offer comes to them privately based on their actions.
Right, and it uses dynamic, unique discount codes. They're generated automatically, applied seamlessly, and then they disappear when the timer runs out. Keeps it authentic, creates urgency, but without plastering sale everywhere. It also has a really reliable countdown timer to gently nudge those hesitant buyers.
Love.
And it all integrates natively right on the product and cart pages, so the offers and timers look seamless, not jarring.
What about after the purchase?
That's another powerful feature. Post-purchase upsell funnels. Right after someone successfully buys, it can present a one-time offer, maybe for a related item they looked at but didn't buy, and it's one-click acceptance. This taps into that moment when the customer feels comfortable having just completed a purchase. It's a great, frictionless upsell chance, maybe for things they were hesitant about before.
That's clever timing.
And for optimizing all this, Growth Suite gives you incredibly detailed analytics, funnel reports, product insights, purchase data, cart insights. You can see exactly where the friction points are, where people are dropping off, without needing to directly ask potentially awkward questions. Plus, its advanced behavioral targeting lets you create really specific audience segments, like people who added this specific sensitive item to cart but didn't check out, or returning visitors looking at that category again. This allows for super precise, almost surgical targeting with offers, maximizing conversions while minimizing unnecessary discounts, which is vital for protecting margins, especially with discrete offers.
And it helps with email, too.
Yes, it connects email capture to time-limited offers, like sign up for 10% off, valid for 3 days. It generates a unique code, syncs with your Shopify customer list. It gives you a private, direct channel to send incentives without any public display.
So you can really see how Growth Suite's features tracking the subtle cues, enabling targeted, discrete offers, the analytics, it all fits together. It helps merchants tackle conversion issues and even that underlying customer embarrassment by being smart and respectful, not intrusive. It's about using data to build trust, really. So again, for those of you with a Shopify store, if you want to unlock more sales, understand your customers on a deeper level, definitely check out Growth Suite. You can find it on the Shopify App Store. Test it out for free. It's a smart investment in understanding customer psychology and really boosting your store's performance.
So the big question then is, does focusing on this stuff, addressing embarrassment, actually make a difference? Does it work? And the answer from our sources is a resounding yes. The case studies are pretty compelling. There's one about a sexual wellness brand. They did a full redesign, subdued images, added an anonymous community forum, switched to standard plain packaging. A result: 142% jump in conversions, cart abandonment dropped way down, and they saw more repeat customer.
142%. Wow.
Yeah. And another example, a company selling incontinence products. They started offering multiple packaging choices, including that crucial plain box option. They added voice-assisted shopping for more private browsing and a quick reorder function. The big win there was a huge increase in repeat purchases. Customers felt respected, felt their privacy was prioritized.
That makes total sense. Removes a major barrier.
And one more, a mental health marketplace. They used an AI guide for product discovery, sort of like a private chat. They designed the UI specifically to reduce anxiety, even added a content sensitivity slider customers could control. They saw cart abandonment drop significantly and more first-time buyers converting. It just shows creating that safe, understanding space really pays off.
Those examples are powerful. It really proves that tackling embarrassment isn't just, a nice-to-have customer service thing. It's incredibly good for the bottom line. It drives real results. So looking forward then, what's next in this space? How does this evolve?
Well, the future of this kind of embarrassment-free commerce seems to be moving fast, pushed by tech and also by cultural shifts. We're seeing emerging tech like emotion detection. Could websites one day adapt in real time if they sense you're uncomfortable? Maybe. Neural interfaces, enhanced encryption, offering even more privacy, these things are on the horizon. And the rules are changing too. Global privacy standards are getting stricter. AI governance is becoming a bigger topic. Businesses will increasingly need to show they're prioritizing customer well-being and data security.
So regulation will play a part.
Definitely. But maybe the biggest driver is cultural change. Efforts to destigmatize certain topics, more education, more community involvement. It's all slowly normalizing products and conditions that used to be taboo. And as that happens, the online space itself just becomes inherently safer, less likely to trigger embarrassment in the first place. It's a gradual shift, but it's happening.
So we've really dug deep today into this pretty profound impact of psychology, especially embarrassment on e-commerce, and how thoughtful design, smart strategies, and tools like Growth Suite are helping create a more, well, compassionate and also more successful online shopping world. It really comes down to removing those hidden emotional barriers so people can just get what they need comfortably.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway is really that by understanding these, quite subtle emotional reactions and by using technology in a considered way, merchants can go beyond just transactions. They can build real trust, real loyalty. It's about demonstrating empathy, but doing it at scale.
So, for you, the listener, maybe here's a final thought to chew on. As our digital lives get more and more integrated, more personal, how can all of us as consumers, as people building these online experiences, keep pushing for privacy and comfort? How do we make every online interaction feel genuinely safe, respectful, and free from judgment? This deep dive was brought to you by Growth Suite. If you want to optimize your Shopify store's conversions using smart discount campaigns and really powerful behavioral insights, check them out. Ready to see the difference it can make? Find Growth Suite on the Shopify App Store and start your free trial today. It really is the intelligent way to grow your business. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We hope you found this as fascinating and maybe even as empowering as we did. We'll be back soon with another stack of sources to unpack for you.